Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk to you about CLI. So anytime you have a end user that's a developer and you don't want to build a UI, a good tool to give them is a CLI. So I'll show you how to do that with Node.js. Now the most basic CLI is to just have a JS file that looks at process argv. So process argv is basically the list of arguments that come in. And you see here that I can specify the index of the argument. So here if I had a CLI called CLI.js, I could pass an argument and then I could read the argument out. And then if we want to print back to the screen, just use console log. So that's the most basic version. Now, what happens if we want to package this up? The first thing we should probably do is add a shebang. So this basically allows us to run the CLI without specifying node here. You see there's no, we're not using the node command. But you will also have to run chmod. That just modifies the file to be executable. And once we do that, we can run it directly. Now, if we want to package this up, what we could do is we could add a package JSON and then just specify that the bin is the script that we created. It's that simple. And now we could push it up to the NPM registry. Now, what happens if you have, maybe you have a monorepo where the project name is like pizza/CLI. You don't want the command to be CLI. You want it to be pizza. So you can adjust the naming here by adding a list of, by basically expanding the bin and specifying the name. And this also allows you, if you want to have multiple commands, you can do that here as well. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen like a lot of projects like StyleKit or Next.js, they give you a way to run an initialization command like pnpm create and the name of the project. So all that is it's a CLI where there's a naming convention where you prefix the name with create dash. So here, if we have a package called create dash and we push that up to the npm registry, we can then run pnpm create pizza and it will run our script. It'll download it and run it automatically. So that's kind of nice. Now, one of the things is that the argv, it's good for basic scripts, but as you get to more advanced things, I feel like it doesn't scale well. For example, let's say you have flags here like --4, --. It would be hard to like parse all this, know which one. The order doesn't really matter here. So like using an index is kind of weird. Also, sometimes you have aliases, and then you have also all CLIs generally have like help docs. You know, a lot of things that we should probably try to support that. I feel like if you do it by hand with argv, you're going to waste a lot of time. So a good solution for this is a project called sade. And what sade does is it allows you to specify your CLI in a declarative way. So here you see we can declare our program name with a version, and then we can list all the commands that we have. We can list the options, we can show examples, and then handle the actual command here. And then so this allows us to do things in a very declarative fashion. And so I'll hop into a demo now and I'll show you how to get this all set up. Okay, so here I am in a blank project, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'll create a CLI script inside SRC. And what we're going to want to do here is we want to add the shebang because we want it to be executable directly. So let's do that. And we should also adjust our package JSON. So I'll open that here in a split, and we should add in the bin option. Specify that we want to use that file as our bin. And we also need to adjust this file to make it executable. So I'll open another terminal here and we'll just run chmod on this to make it executable. There we go. And so now we can run this directly. Of course, it does nothing because we don't have anything in there. The next thing we want to do is we want to add sade. So I will install sade, pnpm install sade. And to use sade, the first thing we'll do is we'll declare our program, which will be sade, and the name is pizza. So it's basically a CLI for creating pizzas. And we should specify our version, and we can specify, let's say, version 1.0. And the last part would be to parse the argv. So now if we run this, we can run src CLI. We see that it's already running. We can use the version, --version to see that version is 1.0. Now, we can make this slightly better. If we go back to our code here, we can make the version dynamic. So in our package JSON, right, we have a version number here, right? So let's import it dynamically. So we can read that in from the file system. We'll just import file system from Node.js promises. And we'll read that file. So it's fs read file. Name of the file is package.json, and it's a UTF-8. And we'll pull out that data. So that's text. So we'll need to convert the text into JSON. So we'll do a JSON parse. And so now we have it in JSON, and now we can change this from being hard-coded to use the version from the package. Now let's go back to the terminal and see if it works. Yes, it does. So if we change the version number to, let's say, 1.01, we run it again, we see it automatically update. So that's nice. So now that we have the version number working, we can add a command. We'll add a command for, let's say, creating a pizza. So we'll call it command create. And we'll have a handler here, an action, that'll handle the create. So we'll handle it here. Now we do want to have a parameter. So let's say like the type of pizza is a cheese pizza, whatever, what type, vegetarian. So we'll have a type. This is how you specify that there's an argument. You use the greater than, less than. And then it gets passed in here as an option. So here we have the type. So we can console log that. Let's try to console log type. Let's go back here and run it. So sorry, if we run help, we see now that there's a create command. If we run create, we get an error because we need one argument. And then if we say create cheese, we see it prints out. Now, one thing that I like with these CLIs that can make it a little better is to use these. There's a package called CLI, which does colors. So let's install that. Like that. And we'll bring that in here. That'll allow us to color the output. And then now we can change this to say something like type is clear blue type. So now if we run it again, we get the output in blue. And you could combine these, like you could say bold blue like that. Now, what if we want to have options? Like maybe we want to specify flags on the CLI. So we can use the dot option to say the name. Let's say we'll have one for toppings. And we give it a name, toppings. And we can give it a default value too. Maybe the default is none. There's no toppings. Now, if we go back here and we run help, we see it shows, sorry, we should run help on create. We see that we now have the topping options, and it describes it. So it's doing all the documentation for us, which is really nice. Let's add another one here too. I'll have another one for the, let's say the name. I'll copy and paste. We'll call it for. It will be the customer name. And default will be, I don't know, anonymous. Go back to the command line here. And you see it's automatically updated. Now, what if we want an alias? Like I would like to also have not just --4, but also -f. So just put in a comma here and go -f. Same with toppings, we'll have a -t. And so now if we go back here and run it, we see that we have the aliases as well. Now let's go and read those options out. So when we run our action here, right, we got the type. Now if we want to get these options, these two options, we can just specify another parameter options. And that'll give us those options. So now we can, let's console log those as well. Console log, we'll say one of these will be for, and we'll use color again. I don't know, magenta, options.for. And I'll copy and paste that. We'll do toppings. Now let's run it. Go back to the command line here, and we'll run it. Cheese for Josh. Yeah, that's great. Topping -t olives. Yeah, there you go. So you see, it's all working together. Now, before I let you off, a couple things that can make this a little better. One is to have examples. So you can add an example here. You know, cheese. -- toppings, olive, I think it should be like that. --for Josh. And if we go back now, we run our help again. We should see an example here, you see? So that's a good thing to have, is to have an example. Another thing is also to maybe have a description on the command. So I'll go back to the code here and I'll say here describe, and we'll call this create a pizza. So that'll just help docs, make the docs a little clearer. Now let's go back to the CLI, run it again with help, and there you go. Now we have a nice description. So there you go, guys. That's how you would create a nice little CLI. In the next video, I'll show you a little bit more about how to create CLIs that have prompts. So we'll go into that. Anyways, hope you like it. Like and subscribe, share, and leave me some feedback if you have any comments. All right, catch you later. Cheers.